There's no business like show business. There's no business I know. Don't tell me not to live, just sit and putter. Don't bring around a cloud to rain on my somewhere over the rainbow. The hills are alive with the sound of "Don't cry for me, Argentina. I dreamed a dream in time gone by, when everything's coming up roses for me, and I feel pretty, oh so pretty, and I love a cabaret." Ethel Merman, Judy Garland, Doris Day, Barbara Streisand, Ginger Rogers, Julie Andrews, Liza Minnelli, Bernadette Peters, Patti LuPone. I grew up listening to these women. My childhood is a blur of MGM musicals, show tunes, and tap sequences. But I grew up in a time when, oh baby, how was I supposed to know, was meant to be the female role model of every 9-year-old girl. Now, don't get me wrong here. I enjoy pulling out the old Britney tape just as much as the next single, mildly intoxicated 20-year-old woman. But it just doesn't compare to these powerhouse women I watched in my black and white movies. Not only could these elegant, poised women act, sing, and dance, they were funny and gutsy. A huge misconception of musical theatre is that it's just some shallow, flashy, flippant form of entertainment made for divas and gay men. But I'm here to tell you that it might just change your life, because it changed mine. I always knew I belonged on stage. I've never felt more at home than when I'm under those lights in front of an audience. I think I was one of those hyperactive, attention-seeking kids. I used to force all of my cousins and siblings into doing this Christmas play every year, of which I would always be the writer, director, producer, and of course lead role. I still don't understand why I had to force them to do it. I also used to recite the Singin' in the Rain movie in its entirety for my family's enjoyment, or possibly exasperation. I guess it was just the rush of performing, of sharing something with an audience that I was hooked on. In grade 12, I landed the role of Aunt Ella in our school production of Oklahoma, where the wind comes sweeping down the plain. It was my first big role, and it was then that I knew that all I wanted to do with my life was perform. But it took me a few years after school to realize I actually have what it takes and to build up the courage to audition for any major institutions. In 2010, I auditioned for the Queensland Conservatorium of Music, majoring in musical theatre. I was finally following my dream, pursuing what I always knew I wanted to do. And then the letter came in the mail, and I got my first rejection. I didn't get in. I'd failed. So I cried a lot. I'm very dramatic. And my ego was bruised. But I worked twice as hard the next year, and I was twice as determined to get in. And it was then that I knew that this is what I wanted more than anything else. The next year, I auditioned for the Con and also for the Western Australian Academy of Performing Arts. And contrary to the year before, where no place would take me, I received offers from both, and I had to make a difficult choice. When it rains, it pours. But I chose where I knew my heart was, in Brisbane with my family and friends. And I just had a gut feeling that this new course in Brisbane was going to be the best decision of my life. And I was right. This past year, I've learnt so much about myself, what it means to fail, what it really means to work hard, but mainly how important it is to be passionate and to be doing what you love. I've never been more exhausted in my life, and I've also never been happier. Now, I realise that most of you here probably aren't aspiring to be on Broadway anytime soon, but I can bet that 99% of you are under some sort of stress and needing a night off or a dose of inspiration perhaps. Curse that 1% who isn't stressed. And let me just tell you that there are hundreds of performers just like me waiting for you, wanting to share something special with you. So do yourself a favour. Get yourself a ticket and get down to the theatre. And remember, Ginger Rogers did everything Fred Astaire did, but backwards and in heels. Thank you.